Yeah, I mean, other people described it as whiplash, and that was kind of the sensation that I felt going through the love story in Pride and Prejudice. It was a little bit too, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I was expecting more of a slow burn of their affections, and yet what we got was sudden onset confessions and everything. And I've it's not like I've never fallen in love before, so, I know what the general, sensation and feel of it is like, and it's not one of those things that happens overnight, never. I mean, you might get some premonition that it's coming, you're but with certain individuals, but, it doesn't you're not there yet, Like, after you've gone through it a few times, at least, you might get some of that sense of knowing when things are progressing down that path, but, you know, it it's not quick, to say the least. It's like, maybe, like, you're probably gonna be talking about, like, 6, 9 months of interacting with somebody before it really begins to set in. And, like, it just the thing about the movie and everything is that, like, I totally get that people, audiences have swooned over, "You bewitched me, body and soul," and all this dialogue and this stuff, but, by the time those lines are, like, dropped in the 2005 adaptation, it just feels like, man, this really, I mean, we're getting a vocalization of how Mr. Darcy feels, but we're not really seeing how he got to this point, or how this developed, or what it is that makes him feel this way about her. You might want to interrogate that, to understand why it is you feel the way that you do and everything, and yet that's not no real exploration of that is present in this, and it feels very contrived in that kind of way, like, where it just there doesn't really seem to be any real justification for him to feel the way that he does at all. It doesn't feel defendable, not not from the vantage point of, this is inexcusable, but from the vantage point of, this isn't convincing. And it isn't convincing, precisely because of the fact that, there's nothing they really haven't interacted with each other, enough by this point in the plot at all for it to have come to this. And, the I don't know, I mean, shit. I mean, like, that's what I'm trying to tell you about the whole thing is that, when he tells her, it just feels very much so like it comes out of left field. And, you're starting to ask these questions like, what the fuck happened off screen that made Mr. Darcy feel this way about her? Because what I have seen and the interactions that I've seen between the two of them, there just has not been enough for at all for it to get to this point. And that's crazy because, I have seen more modern movies that have had only that amount of time to, get the characters to fall in love and everything, and they've done it. They've convinced the audience. I mean, I'll give you a list of movies that, I don't have trouble believing it with, like, 10 Things I Hate About You, top of the list as far as romances are concerned. Like, boom, not very convincing, like, didn't have a lot of time to do it, nailed it, Uh, Notting Hill was one of the ones that I like, and but I'm talking mostly Western romances at this point, not anime. I just realized recently Titanic, y- you know, uh, I like, well, I mean, that one kind of had a wish fulfillment episode, of, element to it because, Jack was the poor one. The gender roles were reversed where, the girl he ends up with was of higher social class than he was, and, it it's something I clearly don't mind, and, the thing about, Pride and Prejudice was that's not why I don't like the movie. I mean, it's just, the general sentiment that I feel about it is that it feels very, very much so like it just came out of nowhere. And so, I'm starting to ask basic questions like, how did he come to feel this way?